have some props I'm going to put out here. And if these look like stuffed animals, they are. This is alpaca, and we have 2 llamas, and we have another alpaca.
It's my favorite.
Let's take the envelope and open it. There's nothing secret in here. They're just 5 marvelous pictures. And I didn't want to interrupt the other speakers by having you just stare at these wonderful pictures. So the first picture is myself, obviously, and I want to introduce you to Miles Patrick Dean. And this is on our first day, and we were outside the DoubleTree in Portland, Oregon. And then the second picture is a big black bear that Miles was hoping to see. The third picture is a wonderful place to go to in the Portland area, and that is the White Wolf Sanctuary. The fourth picture, we're going to talk a little bit about the differences between llamas and alpacas. And then the last one, my favorite of all, is, of course, the happiest people in the world, namely Miles and myself. And those animals are real. Those are not stuffed animals. And the one on the white is the alpaca, and his name is Napoleon. And the one on the, well, I did that right. The one over here, the white one. And then the brown one is Rojo, who is the llama. Okay, so we'll talk about these as we go through. So let's go back to the beginning. Why did Miles pick this trip? And there were for 2 reasons. I gave him this brochure, Road Scholar, about a year ago, and I said, Miles, pick out a trip you want, and Nina and I will go on it together. 1 week later, he calls me, Nina, we're going to Oregon. I said, good. What are we going to do in Oregon? He says, see amazing animals. And I said, sounds good. Let me talk to your parents about it and get a date. And so that's what happened. But I say to him, why are we doing this? And he said, 2 reasons, Nina. If you read the description, number 1, we get to go on nature walks and find tracks of animals. And they will explain to us who they are. That was the first reason. And that's what we did on the first day. We went on miles and miles of nature walk. And it was so exciting to find deer tracks and find raccoon tracks and find wolves. And we did not find bears. And that's why I have the second one in there. Miles was a little disappointed. These big black bears are native to Oregon. No sighting of bears. So that was the first reason. The second reason was he was so intrigued by reading about the White Wolf Sanctuary. And he said to me, you know, Nina, that they used to be endangered species, but now they're not. But a refugee, or sanctuary, is a refugee. That's where they take care of sick animals, like sick wolves. And they try to get them so that they are well and can go back to nature. And I said, sounds great, Miles. So we did go to that. And when we went there, in this big Greyhound bus, as we pull up, you hear the howling of these animals, that sharp, pierced sound. And the people that run this said, they're welcoming you. And I said, good. And I'm glad there's a fence between us. So that was the wolf sanctuary. But what really grabbed us, and it was not even talked about in the brochure description, was meeting a llama and meeting an alpaca. And that was the last day. So if you look at this page right here, number 4, they're oftentimes mistaken, and I want to talk to you about the difference. But I want to tell you about the appearance of these 2 animals. And one of them, of course, the dominant one, the llama, is named Rojo. And he walks in the room, and the room is about this size, And walking is not the right word. He was strutting. And he looks around at everybody. There are 40 of us. And he says to us with his eyes, "You are so lucky to have me here. I am just the best thing you ever saw. And not everybody's as fortunate as you." I honestly think he must be related to the Queen of England. There's some royalty there. And behind him is this, what people think is baby llama, but it's an alpaca. And he is Napoleon, much shyer. Okay, and so the owners were there. Their name are Cindy and Kathy, and they decided, because these animals are so gentle and so friendly, that they would make them therapy animals. So that's what they do. This pair go around. They visit children who have special needs. They visit veterans who have stress trauma problems. They go even to college campuses to talk to people that are taking exams, and they comfort them. Okay, so that's who they are. Okay, so if we look at this very quickly because of time, here's the key. You look at their ears. The animals, and let me just pass them around here. The llamas have the banana ears, and that's how you know it. The alpaca has what they call the fox ears. You also look at their noses. They have the llama has the pointed nose, and as Miles said, the alpaca has the smushed-in nose. Their hair is very different. As you can see, the llama is more straggly. This is more curly and much more used for making of clothes. The llama is much bigger. It's about 6 feet tall, weighs around 400 pounds. It's a pack animal. These are mostly for their fur. Okay, and the other things I had there is their back. Because these are mostly pack animals, they have a long back, not true of the alpaca. Their personalities, as I already mentioned, these are the llama, very dominant, very take control. They're guard animals, they're also pack animals. These are much milder, more reticent, and more retiring. Their purpose we've already talked about. And then lastly, they were there for 2 hours with these children. And they would take carrots out of your mouth, the llama would, not the retiring alpaca. And they were just delightful. 2 hours, and just so engaging with these children. So in conclusion, what I want to say is, if you want to know more about these animals, you can guess who has a website. And of course, is Rojo. He has about 10,000 followers. So if you want to go on and see more pictures, please do so. The other thing I would say is you probably know these two animals. They always parade in the Rose Bowl parade every January 1st. Needless to say, I'm going to really watch carefully for my two favorite animals, Rojo and Napoleon. Thank you.